What is your perspective of failure? Do you fear it, or do you accept it or invite it, or are you somewhere in the in-between? My goal for this video is to discuss how we can extract positive value out of the events or process of failure. Many people fear failure because they don't like the discomfort that they experience as a result of the failure. So instead of actually going through a process or taking a risk or trying something, instead, many people will not do those things so that they don't have to experience the heartache or the discomfort that might come at the end of that process if the result is failure. There's an inherent problem with the fear of failure because it oftentimes will keep us from doing certain things that could bring about positive outcomes. If my fear of failure is keeping me from trying certain things in life, then I'm never actually going to be able to learn from the process of those situations, whether the result is a success or failure. If I don't ever try in the first place, then I will never know what the potential outcome could have been. There's something else that we miss out on when we have a fear of failure as well, and that is the opportunity to learn more about ourselves. There is certain character that is refined and developed within each person whenever you experience failure. I'm reminded of something one of my bosses used to say, and that is, success is on the other side of pain. I've adopted this and modified this a bit, and oftentimes will tell my classes and students that success is on the other side of failure or struggle or loss or the grind. There are going to be many areas and things in life in which we are not going to be successful in the immediate situation. Success is going to happen through the process of the struggle and the process of the failures that we encounter, because it's those things that end up teaching us what we're doing wrong and therefore teach us what we should be doing or could be doing better in order to get a better or healthier outcome. If you were to ask any successful person, they would likely tell you that their success came through a bunch of failures, a bunch of attempts that they made in which didn't go well, and then they had to learn from that and refine their process, make modifications, adapt to the situation so that they can learn how to be successful. I think a lot of people from the outside looking in oftentimes will make assumptions about people who are successful and will say that they got there a little bit easier than they really did, or that they were spoon-fed certain opportunities, or whatever it may be. In reality, the better majority of the people who are successful, and we could come up with a few definitions or different definitions of what success looks like, because it is about the perception of what or how we define success to be. But I could almost guarantee you that something that they would all have in common is that they had to push through that fear of failure and almost look forward to failure because they knew that the failures were going to be the things that would teach them the most about themselves and what not to do. As a student, my encouragement to you is that you put aside that fear of failure that you might have and learn to value the little mistakes that you make, or even the big mistakes that you make, and take them as opportunities to learn more about yourself and what not to do. If you would do this, I promise you that you're going to end up in a better place over the long run. Here's something else that I would remind you of, and that's this. Let's say that this is representation of your comfort zone, and it's this big. The only way for your comfort zone to grow is if you allow the comfort zone to be challenged. If there are all of these opportunities that could potentially be failures, but they could also be successes, but because of the discomfort that you're going to have to walk through, you end up not allowing yourself to experience those types of events or situations. Then your comfort zone is always going to stay in and around about the same size as where it's at now. The only way your comfort zone grows is if you allow discomfort to take place. Because once you experience the discomfort and learn from that, the comfort zone is going to grow, and you're going to get to a place where you can more and more take on the burden and responsibility of things that could potentially create discomfort within you. Don't allow yourself to get to a place where all you do is avoid uncomfortable situations. And they're all around us. They're in the relationships that we have. There's those uncomfortable conversations that we don't necessarily want to have, but sometimes it's the best thing that we can do, not only for ourselves, but for the other person in the relationship that we're in. In work, in school, in all areas of life, there are always going to be moments that you have a choice of whether or not you're going to walk through that situation or try to avoid it. The more you avoid situations, the more your fear of failure is going to grow. The more you take on those uncomfortable situations, the more you're going to find your fear of failure slipping away. And that's a good thing. I can't stress this enough. There is value in failing whenever we invite the process and then learn from the failure itself. So whether you're watching this as a student or not, it really doesn't matter. I would encourage you to take inventory and assess where your mindset is regarding your perspective of failure, and learn to work through that, walk through it. Next time you have a moment where you could avoid a situation because of your fear of failure, gain the courage, develop the courage, and walk through that. And remember, the more you do that, the better you're going to get at it, I promise. Learn, develop, grow. That's why we're here. I'm Dr. Jason Wright with Think It Clear. If you found this video helpful, I would encourage you to subscribe and even share it with your friends or family, because this is something that is universal. Again, whether you're a student or not, people can get crippled by their fear of failure. And so if this is something that you feel like would be helpful for them, please share it with them. And I look forward to seeing you next time.